presented by Sega.
Yes, people, welcome back to the Knots Cave. I have not been stood here looking at you beautiful people for so long. I've been hiding behind the camera, hunched over in a chair, recovering from major back surgery I had in December. But I'm so glad to be back in front of the camera. I can see all your beautiful faces, except that one over there. Not quite sure who you are. But anyway, we're back with a pickups blast. I've got loads of pickups to go through, so we're going to do two of these videos. This one's going to be predominantly all about Sega Saturn. We have had some gifts from one of my viewers, which are really cool, so we'll have a look at those. And the video after this, hopefully, we'll have an Evercade special, people, because I've picked up so much Evercade stuff since probably October last year that it's all still wrapped up. I've not played it, and I've been waiting to do a pickups blast so I can sit down and enjoy some arcade goodness on my Evercade. So without further ado, people, let's jump over to the Knots bench, check out some Sega Saturn goodness, and also some gifts that I received from one of my viewers. Yes! So the first pickup we have isn't really a pickup, it's a gift from one of the channel's viewers. So thanks a lot to Diane for sending these in. These rather irritating sparkly Jackie teddy bears, like he wasn't annoying enough already. Oh yes, mate, you're being replaced. What? So yeah, nice one, thanks to Diane for that. We're going to sit one of these guys in shot, because I've got rather a lot of pickups to be getting on with, so we're going to stick him there and he can supervise us while we go through some Sega Saturn goodness this time, people. So to start off with, we have a little bit of Sega Saturn tat, and trust me guys, these pickups get better as we go. So the first thing we got was a lovely Sega Saturn bottle for keeping your drinks in. I love the design on that. I thought I'd be able to put my coffee in it, but sadly you can only put cold drinks in it. That's rather cool anyway. I'm obsessed with the Sega Saturn, guys. I'll buy anything with that logo on it. Just don't make some pants, because I have them too. The next bit of tap we have is the Sega Saturn wireless charging pad. You know, plug it in, stick your phone on and charge it, but charge it on the best 32-bit console ever made, people. Yes, so a bit more Sega Saturn tap there. We'll stick just behind this bottle, keep him out of the way. Now, a lot of these Saturn games I've been picking up since about November last year, but because I haven't done a pickups video, I might as well stick these in, haven't I? So the first game I got is probably my favourite Super Scaler arcade game of all time, and a very, very faithful port to the Sega Saturn. We have Space Harrier. Oh yes, this game is absolutely fantastic, people. It's a really, really good port, and I'm really into my Super Scalers at the moment, so the more of these I add, the better. Have a nice minty disc. Space Harrier is just one of those games, man. I played to death when I was younger. I used to play a lot of this on the Dreamcast in Shenmue, and at one point I was ranked about number 12 in Europe at Space Harrier Score Attack. Wicked, it's compatible with the Mission Stick, which is a peripheral, not a game it does not own at the moment. And there is an excellent love letter to Space Harrier on the Dreamcast, if you've not played it, people. There's a game called Xenocider, made by Retro Samus, which is a love letter to games like Space Harrier and Sin and Punishment. So yeah, awesome game, fantastic port to the Sega Saturn, and worth every penny, people. Yes. So next up we have another Super Scaler for the Saturn. I am trying to get as many of these as I possibly can, and the deeper you dive down the rabbit hole, the more of these games you find, and it is probably the most iconic racing game that Sega have ever made. Outside of Daytona and Sega Rally, we have the fantastic Outrun. Now for many years, this port of Outrun was the best port of Outrun you could get on any format. But obviously, now they've all been re-released on modern consoles, they're arcade perfect, but this was virtually there. An absolutely beautiful game. Another minty disc. Don't think we get a spine in this one either. There's a little advertisement for a game called Puzzle Action, which is really cool. There we go, an advertisement for Outrun in the Outrun box. Afterburner, that's another Super Scaler we need to add to the Saturn collection. But I do like flicking through these Japanese manuals because they're always so colourful. We've got such great artwork in. Look at that. If I was to get you the PAL version of Sega Ages out and flick through the manual, you guys would be incredibly depressed. at the 47 European languages and lots of black and white text, and that's all we get. But look at these, the Japanese manuals really are a work of art, if you ask me.
That's right.
Yes. Outrun, fantastic on the Saturn. It's been ported to pretty much every computer in the entire universe. I've even seen recently on YouTube as well that somebody's porting it to the Amiga 1200 and making a much better job than the original developer did on the Amiga. It looks really, really nice. Now, the next Sega Saturn game I've had my eyes on for years, and the prices of this in the UK were a little bit wacky, so I did import this one from Japan and saved nearly half the money. We have
Willy Wombat.
I've always wanted to try this game out. It looked very interesting. Hudson Soft made some really cool stuff back in the day. And it turns out that this is like an isometric 3D adventure game. Level based, we have to collect stuff and find the exit, etc. The language barrier is very tiny in this game. You may need Google Lens to translate a few menus at the beginning, but all of the game's voiceovers are in English, people. So, you know, you can follow the story. You may just have to point your phone at the TV to translate the menus.
Ah, you should state your own name before asking another's. Have I been followed? No, can't be. Have you done something that someone would follow you?
Look at that again, more fantastic, colourful artwork, screenshots, guides, tips and everything. Japanese manuals, oh, just truly beautiful. Look at that multi-tap, oh yeah, bomber and multi-tap, we need some of that. Awesome stuff. So yeah, Willy Wombat is actually a surprisingly good game. I'm quite enjoying that. It gets quite tough, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a nice little platformer for the Sega Saturn that really should have got a PAL release. I think people would have lapped that game up. It's above average at best. The next Saturn game we have, people, is possibly Knott's Gamer's favourite Sega Saturn game of all time. I haven't played a better game than this on the system yet. We have the fantastic Nights into Dreams. I already own this on PAL and Japanese, but I do want the 3D controller, and the best way to get it is in a box set with Nights, because Nights is flipping awesome, people. If you've never played a Saturn and you want to get into Sega Saturn, Nights is probably quintessentially one of the best games on the system, next to Sega Rally. So let's pop into this box, see what we get. Naturally, I got myself another copy of Nights into Dreams, which I already have several of, which isn't a bad thing. I don't mind keeping these. In the box we get all the cool stuff like the warranty card. Wow, what other cool things do we get in here? Nice little leaflets. Showcasing up and coming Sega games that probably never launched in the UK and in the USA, because, you know, Sega sucked with the Saturn outside of Japan. Another cool, here we go, spine card there. An advertisement for Nights being on sale, even though, you know, it was in the box of the thing that was on sale. That's pretty cool. So let's have a quick look at the manual, because once again, like I say, artwork in Japanese manuals, second to none. Look at that, absolutely beautiful. And if you don't believe me how bad PAL manuals are, I'll just show you the manual for Nights into Dreams for the PAL Sega Saturn, and it is quite disappointing compared to this. This gives you lots of information on how to play the game more intricately than the PAL versions do. Some fantastic artwork of all the bosses there. So just for an example, guys, we'll show you the PAL manual for the Nights, and this is a rather battered one I've got. Oh, we got a picture in it that you get, you see what I mean? You see how boring UK manuals were, other than the cover. But yes, let's get this all back in the box quickly. Quick as that. I'm telling you, it's amazing what they crammed into these cases. But anyway, the reason I bought this is because I much prefer the look of the Japanese controllers to the PAL ones. Much more colourful. Triggers work fine, D-pad feels beautiful. Sega made the best D-pad in the universe. No one has beaten it since. Analog feels lovely and smooth. Now, I've had a lot of these where the analog gets very rough. And I'm not quite sure how to fix that. Everything feels fresh and new. There's a little bit of dirt on where it's been used. But other than that, it probably feels better than several of the PAL ones I've got. It looks a lot better too, doesn't it? Yeah, it definitely looks better than the PAL version. I always wondered what Sega would have done with this controller had the Saturn continued its lifespan. Because like the Dreamcast, it was quite modular. You plug the power lead in there, but I wonder if they were ever going to do things to interrupt it, like light guns, microphones and stuff like that. It's interesting. It's very interesting. But yes, Sega 3D pad. And I guess the really nice thing about that is if I ever want to use this, I can just plug it straight into the cable from my PAL one and not have to waste the cable as well. So, cool. But Nights into Dreams, people. Yep. You may not agree with me as it being the best game on the Sega Saturn, but you know damn well it's one of the finest games that Sonic Team have ever knocked out. Beautiful, beautiful Nights into Dreams. So for the next one, we're going to have to move the camera, guys, because this is a really, really big one. So swing back, people, and get that out of the way. There we go. So the next pickup we have for the Sega Saturn, bearing in mind I've wanted this pretty much my whole adult life, is we have the Sega Saturn twin stick controller for Virtual. And I mean, this controller, people, is an absolute beast. I do know it's compatible with a few Saturn games, and I do own one called Gun Griffin 2, which I'm sure is compatible with this. But in the box we get a joystick and a copy of Virtual, so let's just pop that out of the box a minute. So first things first, we get a copy of Virtual in the box with the controller. This was a beautiful game on the Saturn, but it was very, very difficult to control with the standard controller. So I've always wanted to know what it would be like to play this with the Virtual twin sticks. So I'm going to be incredibly bad when I play it. It's going to be fun. There we go. Got all the controls in there, all the moves. I'm sure. Come on, we're going to have some nice artwork. Yeah, there we go. Look at that artwork for the Virtuoids, or Virtuoids, or whatever they were called. My favourite was this guy because he just looked really cool. So yeah, let's whip out the twin stick controller and have a look. There we go, guys. I nearly hit the camera of it then. Absolute beast, and it's beautiful. Joysticks feel great and clicky. Got those lovely arcade micro switches in there, you can tell. And it's going to be a lot of fun to play with. It twists slightly. I don't know if that is a thing or, you know, because it's old. But I can't wait to get stuck into some Virtual and some Gun Griffin 2 with this. Awesome. Awesome controller. So the final pickup we have is going to help you use this beautiful joystick to play Gun Griffin 2 on the Sega Saturn in English. We've picked up a Saroo for the Sega Saturn. Now this lovely piece of kit is an optical drive emulator that you can drop into your Sega Saturn with no internal modifications required. It runs the vast majority of games, it runs some homebrew games as well, and it is really, really cool for playing translated and patched Sega Saturn games. At the moment I've popped a 512GB memory card in the top of there, and that currently contains my entire PAL library, which is every PAL game released for the Sega Saturn. About 140 Japanese games that I have on my shelf have all been backed up and put on here too. And I've added the entire USA library, and it's not even half filled the card yet. So we've got about 400 Saturn games on here. The vast majority of them play fine. Some of them do have issues, but every time there's a new firmware update for the Saroo, it does have new features and make more games accessible through it. If you've got a Saroo and you want to know how to set it up and change folders and add animations and music to your menus and stuff, pop over to GameZone Birdroom's channel and James will explain everything for you over there, as he's put lots of content out about the Saroo, how to pop games on it, how to order them into folders and everything. So pop over to GameZone Birdroom's channel if you want to know how to set up your Saroo. I'm going to have a lot of fun with this now. It's a fantastic piece of kit and essential, I'd say, for most Saturn owners, because if you can play your games off this, it saves wear and tear on not only on your discs, but your disc drive too. So yes, fantastic pickle for the Saturn. So yes, there we go people, that's my Sega Saturn pickups and gifts from one of my YouTubers that we've received recently. A little bit obsessed, maybe, but who cares? I love the Sega Saturn. Thanks for watching people, take care, and we'll see you in the next pickup blast with a bucket load of Evercade goodness. Thanks for watching, see you next time.
Very cheap.